very happy to welcome back to the program this week Pat Ryan, who is involved in a lot of things. Pat, why don't you tell us? I know that you are the coordinator of International Night for the 4th Annual International Night for Rotary coming up here in January. But what's next? And maybe you can just list your titles and the hats that you wear for us in the order there that they should appear.
Well, thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here again. We seem to come once a year to talk about International Night with the Cookeville Breakfast Rotary Club, and we're about to announce the lineup for that and ask people to put a check on the calendar for the 26th of January for International Night, a fundraiser for the Cookeville Breakfast Rotary Club. But with your indulgence, we can also talk about some Tennessee World Affairs Council events we have coming up. I'm involved in that. And as you may recall from the last time we talked, I do write newsletters on Middle East affairs. And if you want to talk about what's happening in the Middle East these days, there's no shortage of material there. But primarily, I'd like to talk about the Cookeville Breakfast Rotary International Night that's coming up in January.
Right, and this year you are honoring Japan.
Yeah, we pick a country every year that we're going to use as our theme. The first year was India, and then we had Saudi Arabia International Night and Germany last year. This year we chose Japan, and I think it's especially important for Tennesseans to know what the importance of Japan is to Tennessee. We recently had our governor go to Japan with a trade delegation, and it sort of highlights the importance for Tennessee economically that we do have a strong relationship with Japan.
If I'm not mistaken, Tennessee Tech has a sister university in Japan.
There's a lot of academic connections between Tennessee higher education institutions and sister cities and those sorts of things with Japanese counterparts. But one of the things that we want to highlight is the importance to Tennesseans of the economic relationship. For example, there are 160 companies in Tennessee and 35,000 Tennesseans who are employed in areas that are dependent on exports to Japan. And the exports to Japan are significant from Tennessee.
What are they importing from us? Do you know?
Well,
some of the big ones.
The full range of manufactured goods, but most people don't know that 5.5% of Tennessee exports go to Japan, and they're
5.5%. That's a big number.
It is, and when you consider the amount of our trade that goes to Canada and Mexico, that's a big chunk that goes to Japan. It's $1.6 billion to the Tennessee economy, and that is up over 22% from 2010 to 2011.
I bet some of that, or a lot of that, is probably some form of automobile manufacturing parts.
I think a lot of that, but the full range of Tennessee manufactured goods is included. If you look at the U.S. Commerce Department, there's a breakdown by sector, and it's across a wide spectrum of manufactured goods and other products that come from Tennessee.
So you usually have a speaker.
We do, and this year we've invited Governor Haslam. He recently completed the trade mission that I mentioned, taking a group of Tennessee business people to Tokyo as part of an ongoing trade relationship and trade association relationship with Japan. So he should be particularly up to date on the relationship, and we hope that the invitation we've extended to him will work out and that he'll be our speaker. It's still a few months off, so we haven't nailed that down 100% yet.
Now, what is the date of the International Night?
Saturday, the 26th of January. It'll be at the Clarion Inn on South Jefferson, and there will be plenty of details on our Breakfast Rotary website, which is cbrotary.com. And we have tickets for sale online through the website if people want to pick up a couple of tickets, perhaps for Christmas presents or whatever.
How much are they?
$25, and it's a real good deal.
It's a fundraiser.
It is. It's a fundraiser. It includes dinner, and there's a reception with a silent auction. There'll be entertainment. We've got some Japanese musicians and entertainers in addition to the keynote speaker. So it should be a great evening, and we've seen about 250 or 300 folks turn out for the last couple of international nights, and it's been really a fun thing to do in the dead of winter, to come out Saturday night down at the Clarion and participate.
I've been and have enjoyed it. Japanese food?
Japanese food, that's right.
Which is one of my favorites.
We're looking at having a full range of things for people who may not be familiar with it to taste something new, and some things that that's not everything in the Japanese line of cuisine is for everybody, but there should be something to satisfy most tastes.
You mentioned this is a fundraiser. The money going to fight polio?
Well, the Cookeville Breakfast Rotary, along with Rotary International, is involved in campaign against polio, and has been since 1985, and has invested a lot of time and money into the battle against polio, which, as you know, is a crippling and potentially fatal disease.
And I'm sure a lot of people say polio. Well, I thought we had eradicated that a long time ago, and we have for the most part in this country, but worldwide that is not the case.
That's right. We eradicated it in about 1980s with the introduction in the 1950s of the polio vaccine. But that was in North America, and it persisted in most of the rest of the world. But now, through efforts of Rotary and a host of other agencies around the world, polio is on its last legs, and it's now endemic only in 3 countries: Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Nigeria. And you may see some of the TV commercials that were this close to eradicating polio, and that is the case. A couple of years ago, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation challenged Rotary, and Rotary is really the #1 organization in the world battling polio, in addition to governmental institutions and the World Health Organization. But Rotary has spearheaded the effort and has raised several $100 million for the final push to eradicate it in the last 3 countries. And people here may think that it's somebody else's problem, but until polio is eradicated worldwide like smallpox was, it remains a danger to people everywhere, especially to young people.
Well, and that's always an interesting sort of attitude anyway, to think it's somebody else's problem. Who is that somebody else? Human beings?
Well, you know, we all try to do our best to help our fellow man, but sometimes the practical question of where do you give your money that you give to charity, people tend to look at home, and that's all well and good. But Rotary truly has been an international organization and leading the drive around the world to do humanitarian service.
International Night, 4th annual, on January the 26th at the Clarion Inn. You can find out all you need to know about it at the Rotary website. That's the Breakfast Rotary website at cbrotary.com. Just think Cookeville Breakfast Rotary, cbrotary.com. You can buy your tickets there. They're $25 a piece. All the money going to help in the international Rotary effort to eradicate polio. But that's not the only effort on a worldwide scale that you are involved with through Rotary. You are about to embark upon your 2nd trip to Ghana in an effort to build water wells.
Right. The fundraising we're doing some of it will also go to the Rotary Ghana project that we've started. And this will be my 3rd trip, and my daughter went the last time we went, and she'll be on her 2nd trip. But we're going to continue the work that we're doing in an area of western Ghana to build water wells, and this is consistent with Rotary's work, not just in the area of polio, but humanitarian service, to try to improve the living standards and the opportunities for people around the world. And we've worked closely with the Crossville Rotary Club for many years, and we've built a number of water wells, and we're actively involved in projects to extend the number of wells in this very rural area of Ghana, where they used to rely on surface water, and consequently were involved in numerous chronic diseases that really were debilitating to the people who relied on those water sources. So we feel real good that by putting in a water well in a community that didn't have one, that the people had to carry water by hand for many miles, and the water that they were bringing back was in many cases disease laden. this has really been a game changer in enabling them to move up out of abject disease and poverty to have a better opportunity. We also bring doctors with us, and the last 2 times we went, we had medical clinics, and this year we'll be doing the same. We're bringing some doctors, including Dr. Chuck Womack from Cookeville, who will be on his 2nd trip, and we raise money to buy medicines that the doctors use in treating people at the clinics. And the last time we were there, we saw about 4,000 people over the course of 6 days. The doctors that we brought with us, and one who joined us from Ghana. And it was really stunning to see the number of people who would come to show up at this rural building where the doctors showed up. And these are people who otherwise would not have regular health care. And the incidence of diseases like malaria and high blood pressure and many other things that were going undiagnosed and untreated really make you appreciate what we have here in terms of health care.
If you've just joined us, this is Cumberland Viewpoint. I'm Dave Johnson, and it is a community service of Cookeville Communications and brought to you in part by the Putnam County Family YMCA. Talking with Pat Ryan today, president of the Tennessee World Affairs Council. And
in my spare time.
In his spare time, he is also a member of the Cookeville Breakfast Rotary and the coordinator of the upcoming International Night. It's the 4th annual International Night at the Clarion Inn on January the 26th. And the featured speaker this year, Governor Bill Haslam. He's been invited, and hopefully he will follow through with that. And the reason being that he was involved in a ambassadorial
he led
trip
a trade delegation last month to Tokyo,
and you want him to come and speak about his experiences there and share some of his knowledge that he has about our economic connections with Japan. And so that's at the Clarion Inn, as I mentioned. What time is it?
It'll be a 6 o'clock start for the reception, and all the details are on the website. But I would mention that we do have a team of Rotarians from the Breakfast Club that are putting this together, and I'm just one small piece of it. And
that's going to be $25, and the money raised will be going toward the International Rotary's eradication of polio efforts, as well as perhaps to some fundraising for your Ghana water trip that we were just speaking about, that Pat, as well as many others, are going on. Former Cookeville Mayor Dr. Chuck Womack. How many people are you taking on that trip?
We're looking at about 10 to go.
Do you have 10 yet?
I don't think we're there yet. We're still looking for some people. We're always looking for the medical personnel who can help at the clinic, but anybody who feels they can contribute should check with us and see if they have a role, and we'll be happy to explain to them what's involved.
You'll see some sights, but this is not a sightseeing trip. I remember talking to you about it when you went the last time. How many days are you over there?
Well, the first trip was a 10-day trip. The last time we were there for 8 days. And you're right, it's not going to Paris or the French Riviera, but I tell you, when you get back after doing something like that, you feel like it was the trip of a lifetime, that you've seen some things that you could only imagine existed on the planet, and that you truly made a difference for other people who couldn't help themselves.
If you need information about that or the International Night honoring Japan on January the 26th at the Clarion Inn, starting at 6 o'clock, go to their website, cbrotary.com. That's all one word, CB Rotary. That stands for Cookeville Breakfast Rotary. cbrotary.com. You can even purchase your tickets there for the International Night.